Oh, maybe. Okay, no. Hello, and welcome back to Community Dissection. I'm Bri Leever, and this week we are Automation Anywhere Pathfinder Community, and I'm joined by Margaux Miller. Margaux, you want to say hi?
Hi, yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Margaux Miller.
Awesome. Margaux's been on with us before, so I'm very excited to have her back. Margaux, you did the Spotify community with us, right?
Yes, I did. What a great dissection that day. I feel like we all had a lot of interesting comments. So that's definitely one to check out, the Spotify dissection that we did, Bri.
It was really fun. It's probably like one of my top ones. I loved getting to see that product community. So here we dive in to a new community. This one was someone else recommended it. I was not familiar with Automation Anywhere. I have done a little bit of work with automations in like Zapier and kind of more like layman tools, but this seems like a very heavy like developer community from what I understand. So we're both coming in not having been a part of this community. I think it's going to be really helpful to see for those of us who might not be the target for this community, but still have the experience with community design and architecture to see how they are fostering those connections with their members. So without further ado, so the first thing we look at here is how easy is it to find this community? And it was incredibly easy to find this community. I searched Automation Anywhere. It did bring me, well, here, I'll just show you what it brought up for me. Anywhere community. All right, so this is, oh, hold on. How did I get to the Automation Anywhere community? Maybe not edition. Let's try this.
Is it Automation Everywhere, not Anywhere? Is that the difference?
No, it's Anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, did I put everywhere? Yeah. There we go. Yep. Okay, there we go. So it was a little bit confusing. I again, maybe people would have more context for this, but I was searching, I was a little confused with like Pathfinder community versus Automation Anywhere community. So Automation Anywhere is the software. It's the tool that people use to create these automations. And so it seems like this is a customer community. I'm curious, Margaux, after we dive in a little bit, to hear which department you think this originally came out of. And so their community is open. I am logged in. I did like create an account, but I didn't have to go through any crazy application process. I didn't have to purchase their product in order to be a part of it. So it seems to me like the target is their customers, but they clearly don't have a problem with people who are not customers joining their community. And almost, I'm curious if there's a marketing tactic in there as well. So this is the first page when you come in, community.automationanywhere.com. And when I looked up, so this is built in Akamai. Have you heard of this, Margaux?
No,
I've never heard of that platform before. And I looked it up, like what it's hosted on. It said Akamai, A-K-A-M-A-I. So I'm really curious to do more research into this platform, but overall it looks pretty customized to their experience. And something I love is immediately this find your path. And they have 3 really clear examples of automation leader, citizen developer, and developer. Now, again, I wouldn't consider myself in the target of this community, so I'm a little confused about the difference between a citizen developer and a developer.
Right.
But they have a little bit more. It seems like citizen developer is maybe like on their way to becoming a developer. I'm not quite sure. But any insights or things you want to point out from this very first landing page here?
Yeah, mostly I agree with you, Bri, as far as having the find your path right away. I think sometimes with communities, there's different resources depending on how you're using them, especially with customer community where you have different users or end users. So I think that this is really smart. Hopefully when we click on them, we're going to see like a different type of resource or direction for those people or conversations happening more relevant to them. I think the search bar at the top is pretty nice too, assuming that there's some good, like the actual search bar right in the like search the community there. Yeah. Except I think sometimes I find you need prompts for those kind of things. Like, it prompts you to say like, put in your geography or put in your problem or put in whatever. Cause I'm wondering here, like if I'm brand new here, what am I searching?
Yes. Yep. For that to take up so much real estate.
Yeah, it takes up a lot.
Yeah, that's a really great call out. Okay, well, let's just search for logo again.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, like, it didn't seem very relevant for a location, so it's probably more like search your problem. But
yes, yeah, which kind of begs the question, like, am I searching for solutions to problems? Am I searching for like courses or like materials to learn more about how to build automations?
Yeah.
And it's probably like all of it together, but I agree, having some prompts here. And so here's where I go back and forth, because what I love about these three paths are like, just from a marketing perspective, if you can make it crystal clear who this is for right off the bat, like that just brings such psychological safety to your experience in the community. But the second part of that is like, who is this for and what do they do here? Like, what is it for? What is the purpose? And I think I think the who it's for is crystal clear. Again, like probably clearer for those who have like some of the background that they need.
Yeah.
But I do feel like we're missing what happens in this community.
Yeah, because then also you'd know how to use that search bar if there was a clear understanding, like this is a support community. Like this is a support and resource community. So clearly your search box is going to be for questions and support tools and resources, right? But if I'm coming here just thinking like, could I meet people who use automation everywhere in my city? I'm going to search my city. We got that wrong, right? Like we tried that just now. It wasn't the right way to use it. So to your point, a little more like, what is this community's use case? Just to your point, like the people here are really great. But this like understanding of how to use any community is of course like so prominent. We know that having an identity that's very clear and feeling like you identify with like the identity of that community makes you feel a sense of belonging and trust, right? And you're going to dig in deeper. Yep.
100%. And it's these like little like Shutterstock images are like a little sterile, but I really like seeing actual people like on community pages. Like I think that's actually I haven't seen that hardly at all with most of the communities that we've dissected, and it does actually help to see like a human here, even in this like kind of sterile version.
I can think there's some good mixes out there. Like sometimes people are using kind of like cartoon people, but you're right. They are a little stock photo, but at the same time, I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So fast track to automation success, wherever you are on your journey, the program can help. So this is like, a lot of it seemed to be pointing me when I was clicking around. Yes. Okay. I was going to come back to this page. So this is really interesting. They actually they help you identify what are the steps in your journey. If you were like, where are you coming in at?
Wow.
Which I think is awesome. It's so pretty and interactive. I know we're getting into the UX here, but I kind of like it. And then
they clearly have a theme, right? Like they clearly have this space theme kind of all throughout that they're really sticking with it. Even what you just clicked on, like all the imagery, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, it's
their brand is well kind of pulled through.
Yeah, I think it's world building done really well. And I like the Pathfinder being the name of their community. It seems like a big part of their identity as a community is helping people identify where they are at in the path and then helping them progress forward, which feels very clear to me. Okay, not sure which stage you're in. See which of these scenarios describes your program best. Keep in mind, you might be at different stages for different areas of focus. Okay, interesting. So that's helpful. Okay, so then they really do break the community into these three journey stages, which I'm curious if the roles correlate to the journey stage. I would assume that they do, but maybe not.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe a mix.
Okay, so then they break it into start.
This looks like this is everything that were in those bubbles, just more in like tiles so that you can see them more easily, I think.
Yes. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So this is like clearly the
Yeah.
content side of the community. I think I'm curious now. Okay, so I clicked on, what did I click on? I clicked on this
That was
originally.
learn more, I think. Okay.
Oh, so this one was learn more. This one was fuel up from just the automation leader. So let's see where that takes us. We are in a forum for.
Yeah, so now you're very much connecting with other people who are leaders like you. Automation leaders. Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
The
So,
popular
and
tags are nice to kind of find like conversations that meet what you want to talk about. What happens in those top kind of drop downs there?
Yeah, I was gonna say, so I like they kind of break out the 3 different types of forums and then 3 different blogs. So it seems like this is the 3 different blogs, I would guess, like another way of getting to it. So let's just look here. Let's look at the developer blog. So I like the really clear distinction between conversation and content. Like that feels, I'm sure that there's some sort of pipeline too between like, hey, we're getting a lot of conversation about this topic. Let's create a blog post, or maybe they, I would really hope that they incorporate like their top members who are posting a lot to create some of that blog content. Oh, maybe.
They have really nice like upvoting here, so you can kind of see, or it's not upvoting, it's just voting in general. Like, was this helpful? It didn't move them to the top. These look like they're by date. On the right-hand side, looks like you can filter. Can you filter by most liked things or most viewed? There you go. Most replies, most views. Awesome.
Cool. Let's look here. Developers blog, explore trends and innovations. You know, I'm curious too. This looks really similar to the forum. I'm curious, like, at what point maybe anyone can post in the forum, but only select people can post in the blog, I would assume. I just want to look at the formatting here. Yeah, it's definitely like the same forum style for both. Interesting. Okay, does this take me to the same place? I'm just trying to get like a sense for the pathways. Yes. Okay.
This is the blog.
Automation leaders. Yes. And here they just have it in like this more easily readable format, but it takes you right to the blog. Okay. Cool.
If you go to the developers blog level, or one of the levels of blogs.
Oh, let's see. Am I here? Forum.
Is this the blogs, or that's the forum though?
This is the forum. I'll go to the blog again.
Okay, so yeah, I do find this a bit confusing because to me, this looks just like another forum.
Yeah, it would be helpful to have a different format.
Yeah. Also, like, it looks like members are on here as well as partners and different anonymous. I think I would have thought that blogs would have a certain expectation of writer type or style, or like that it would be different. Yeah. So there's some delineation there that might be more helpful. If I, let's say, had something to talk about, do I post it on the blog page and write a little more, or do I just post it on the forum page and write a little less? I guess that's a question that might be more clear for when you click on something to actually write one, but otherwise, yeah, there seems to be something missing there.
Right. Well, and it honestly, if one assumption that I would make from this is that like just really popular forum posts maybe get turned into a blog post, but in that case, like just keep it all in one section, but have like a spotlighted or highlighted
filterability or upvotability.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah, that could be another way to do it.
Jumping to what you're looking at here, though, they have a badging system, which always I want to applaud, because if you've ever tried to create a badging system, you know the work that goes into it and the back end triggers that need to happen, right? And so the
everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. So always applause when there's a badging system in place. Okay, I was curious about what you were doing too there. If you hover over, does it tell you what the badge means?
No, it doesn't.
Oh, shoot. All right. Oh, there. Okay.
Collaborator bronze, collaborator silver, collaborator gold, new year.
Very collaborative.
Okay, cool. So, I do like the hover.
Yep.
always appreciate transparency around how you get badges, so that if I come in and I'm like, I just want to be Micah, like I want to be as badge worthy as he is, I have a really clear steps on how to do that. Remember, since 2020. Okay, then it has all of his activity.
Those are probably activity that like leads to blogs, like responding a bunch to people and posting your own stuff, right? Like that's probably all triggers.
I'm curious if I can click on their topics.
Oh, it looks like it's loading. Yes, very nice. So if you like something that person has written, you can find other content from them. If you think they're really smart or really strong in a certain area, that's a really lovely feature.
I love the follow member. That's a really cool way to like start.
Really nice.
Design leadership. Go ahead.
Forum wise, this is some stuff that I feel like we haven't seen on many others. Like we see the badges, we see like some tallies of things they've been involved in, but the follow feature is actually not one we see very often, but really makes a lot of sense. And also the ability to easily click on their contributions and kind of follow, like, you know, that really ties in those two things together, being able to follow them, being able to see all their contributions in one spot. That's a bonus feature, I would say, and they've done a really good job with that.
Totally. And I love solved. So solved also tells me that we're looking at some level of customer support in this community, which I think this is like nothing. There's no like glaring department for me. So actually, okay, let's keep going before we get into like where did this come from and who on the inside is probably responsible for this. So guides is another one I wanted to look at because we have, why are you not? There we go. Okay. We've got community news. And actually, I'm just going to start Xing out of some of these. Okay, so guides. And then I also wanted us to look at developer challenges.
Interesting.
Oh
no.
Okay, we'll come over to community news. So it's really similar.
But at least these, like my guess is if I'm on the Pathfinder community news page, that this is coming from their team, and you can see that mostly here, the articles by the Automation Anywhere team. One is by that Allison person. I'm guessing she's on their team because this seems pretty clear that this is all from them. Yes. Yep. I love it. I kind of want to see this person's profile. Something else that's she looks exactly like the other guy, but her job title is there. She works for Automation Anywhere. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Oh, and you can send them a message. So this is nice. So they must have some customization because that wasn't on the last profile that I remember seeing. So you can follow and then just send them a message. Yeah, I wonder if that's optional or if that's just the core team members that get that send message button, like the staff. Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. Something this is just like probably more of a platform limitation, but something that I really that I would love to see here is like just it's just such a long like ongoing stream of news. I do like when we can like pin something to the top, or if it's just something to draw my attention that's like, hey, this is like the full archives of news clearly, but what actually is still relevant here is kind of a mystery to me if I'm coming in. My first instinct was, where's the dates of these? Why can't I see which date is the most relevant? My assumption would be the top is the most recent date. But that certainly crossed my mind as well. If I'm gone from the community for a while because I'm traveling or taking a leave or whatever, and I come back, how do I know where to start off my digging back in journey? Totally. Well, and this one was the top one, but it was posted a year ago. Oh, so maybe it's the top one because it had so many views and replies, in which case though still we should be made aware of that on the last page and be able to filter, which is interesting because Bri, we just commented how they had good filtering on that first page of community kind of topics. So interesting that when it came to like the news and challenges that they didn't have that same functionality here. Yeah. Oh, and actually you're right. I was toggling between the two. So now I'm in challenges. Yeah. We were in community news, but it looks like
kind of the same, like this is being broadcasted from the Automation Anywhere community team, both in the news. Okay, got it. So welcome to the Pathfinder community. That makes a little bit more sense to have at the top.
Yeah.
Opposed to 2 months ago.
Regardless of how old it is, it's a welcome message, so it goes on top. Okay, so maybe that's why there's like they're sharing specific information. So perhaps they just haven't had a new developer challenge in a while.
Yeah, that's a really good call out. I want to just go into this to see a little bit more about what this is. I do does appear to be missing to me is like somewhere where you do introduce yourself, whether that's like in the comments here or an introduction space or in the general forum. But I think that's an important step that I'm not seeing immediately. Maybe it's hidden in here. But that's always it's just a soft entrance into a community. If you're hesitant to post, you're probably comfortable talking about yourself, unless you have an immediate pressing issue that you like need to post about. Okay, so let's look here. We've got challenge pages. I want to understand more about this. Hands-on, you solve realistic tasks representative of manual work. You can complete all the challenges in the challenge edition. Okay. Curious what this is. Huh. So maybe it's
expecting that kind of page.
Yeah, so it almost seems like it's the community edition of their Automation Anywhere software so that you can participate in challenges. Am I getting that right?
And if you have the software, there's special challenges that you can be a part of.
Yes. Okay.
Interesting.
You'll need to download the provided shopping list and each item from the list to the shopping order before acknowledging. Okay. Okay, fun. This feels like I feel there would be a lot more clarity if I had the developer background. I definitely believe that. But I love a good challenge as an activation within a community. So I think that's awesome. I want to quickly go over into events because they have events. There are so few like forum-based communities that also incorporate events. So like I want to applaud the Automation Anywhere Pathfinder community team because I'm like, I know events are a big undertaking and they're a lot of work. And so to see these happening, I think this is awesome. I'm like, wow, they're actually taking advantage of like all 3 pillars of community: conversation and content and events.
Yep. And clear events too. Like I think we have seen events on some communities that we've looked at together before, but it'll be kind of like a big conference that they're part of somewhere, or it takes you to like a totally different platform and you're kind of confused. Like I do think that this is just like, it's right within here. They're very clear. I'm not a huge fan of this format of event pages, I have to say though, but I think maybe depending how many events you run, it can work. But I find like I like more tiles or lists or calendar view or like any other view than the large bar you have to scroll, to be entirely honest. Unless it has really good like filter and search functions to it. I just think as a user, like if I'm trying to find something specific to my skill set or we looked at those groups of people that might use this platform earlier. If I'm a certain group of person, how do I find the events that really are relevant to me? Like are there tags or something, you know, I'm being picky here because it is great they have a clear event page, but that's the kind of stuff I tend to look for.
No, I love it. Well, it connects to me, the events arm of this community needs to be connected to this. So similar to how they had this segmented like blog posts about start, accelerate, or scale, how could we just get a tag on events that we can filter according to start, accelerate, or scale so that I can really quickly find which events are for me. Also really interesting that there's an in-person event on here. So it makes me curious. There's only one. I think it's in Chennai, and makes me curious if this seems to be hosted by Automation Anywhere. I'm curious if they have like member-led events or almost like chapters, or if that's something that they're considering for the future. But love seeing the hybrid of in-person and online events. That's not a small feat to be able to do both.
Yeah, and it's clearly noted that it's in person versus online. Like you can see it right on this first page.
Let's see. I wanted to look at, okay, so then we have product updates, which is, let's go in here. So we've got another, clearly like heavy on the forum style for posts and information, but I think they've done a really good job of differentiating where to go for what. Like this is honestly, for not being a developer, this feels like one of the clearest layouts for communities of like, where would I go to find the things?
Right, as opposed to kind of that like Jira ticket environment where things are a little more technical looking, even just in the interface. Yeah, you're right. This is very like every other community type of look.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, so these are release announcements.
I mean, that's cool.
I'm curious if they have, okay, they only have product updates. They might not have, so I'm curious in the forum, if maybe the forum is where they also post customer service questions or product requests. If those all get dumped into forum, if they're all welcome in forum.
Like feedback on things and product changes or requests that you'd want to see as a user.
Right.
I didn't notice those yet. Oh, there's one there. So getting an error.
Getting an error, which would be
kind of more basic support. Looks like it got answered pretty fast.
Yeah.
Did we see a separate spot for logging support tickets or like a support request as a user?
This, not that I'm seeing, I guess on the main page, let's see. Let's see in here where they direct us to for support. I would assume the forum does seem pretty heavy on the support side.
I mean, those questions have been answered pretty fast. That one we were just looking at where it said, error, it was a day ago and it had an answer already, had a couple answers. So
yeah, I think I'm curious if there's any place to put product requests for the future, which is not what I'm seeing, just the product updates of like, hey, this is what is now released. But if they are missing, if that's not a part of the forum or something that like they're inviting people to post in the forum or at events, I think that's one gap that I see for the product department to leverage the community more to get feedback on what they want to see built next from the product. Let me contact support login. They might have a totally separate support system. We'll see. Oh. Okay, yeah, we won't go down that rabbit hole. But product would be that doesn't seem like this is a product. This came from the product department for this community is all I'm trying to say. Last thing here, product. Okay, great. This takes us back to the Pathfinder journey. So yeah, Margaux, where do you think overall, like who would you say this community is for, and where do you think it originated? How do you think it got started?
Like certainly we've just been talking a lot about just now about the fact that there's a lot of support in here, but honestly, I think this could be truly a community team. Like, and so where that community team like sits, like I guess that that's certainly part of your question, but I think that they're their own community team, but that they're tied very closely to the support department.
Yeah.
But
I think me on that.
Yeah, okay, great. Because I think like communities like this, sometimes it takes weight off of the account managers, right? Off of the support team. So like maybe they've got a lot of people, like bigger accounts that have account managers, and they get a lot of these kind of questions. But I think for like maybe their broader group of users that might not be big accounts, this is a great place for them to go to kind of like skim those questions off the top for everyone else, because you can get peer-to-peer interaction, get a couple community managers in there answering things.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think to have, I mean, it seems really simple, but we've dissected quite a few communities, and it really is rare to find one that has conversation and content and events, even from like enterprise level brands. And so I would agree that this seems like a very thoughtful community team is behind the curtain. I would also argue that I do think that with the blog content that, whether that's marketing or customer success or some combination of the two, it seems like education is a big element of this community, even though I'm not seeing any like courses or curriculum, but I feel like there's enough content on that side that I would see that being pretty cross-functional with those departments.
Yeah, I think if there was any like training they were putting out or like group workshops, they would end up on here in the event section. And then maybe, again, maybe they're bigger clients, they're sending them a personal invite as well, not just asking them to find this on their own, but I think it would still live here as an additional spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, this is okay. This is interesting.
So this.
Oh, we've got some regions of users.
Totally. Yes. So this is interesting. Let's go in and see what's going on. Pathfinder community team. Let's connect. Okay. The Western US is not super engaged, I would say, but oh, okay. Interesting. So upcoming events, user group dinner.
Wow.
Okay, cool. So I did not see, oh no, sorry. That's not upcoming. That's in the past. Huh, curious. Okay, seems like they're definitely trying to segment the community into smaller groups, which I applaud. The effort here. It doesn't look like it's getting a ton of traction.
I wonder if we just clicked on like a less popular one. No, that one had 50 members. They're all kind of
migration.
I mean, for all we know, these could be new. Maybe they don't promote them a lot. Because where did you end up finding this? Like, it did take us a minute to kind of get here.
Yeah, I found it. I was back on the oh boy. I scrolled down, but you can access
groups
it here.
Is at the top.
Right.
Okay.
Groups is at the top. Yeah. This is interesting. Members.
I really like that you can hover over and get the profiles. You can see clearly that most people do not add an image. So that could just be like the nature of their user group. Maybe this community aspect is just kind of like a bonus. It's not maybe the main thing people are using. It's not a community for the sake of being a community, you know, it has a purpose. So they're kind of going in there when they have a problem, maybe, especially if it's more support community, in which case not everyone's going to update their pictures, right? But
yeah, yep. No, but it's great to see like some people in here and like the different levels of badges. Oh, partner.
The fact that you can hover over even in this view and get that much visibility on their profile is a strong feature.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, I feel like I would, as a developer, if I was coming into this community, it seems like the problem I'd be trying to solve is like either learning more or getting help with the software itself. And it seems like they are addressing that issue. As a byproduct, I might get connected to other people who are trying to solve similar issues. I think there's definitely some space for more, again, support communities can tend to focus more on you're just trying to solve someone's problem. You're not trying to get connected to a community. So in some ways, it kind of backfires on the community strategy. But I think there would be more ways that they could focus on fostering those connections between members, and events are a great way to do that, events and groups. So I'm really glad to see that they have those here.
Yeah, and you have to think that maybe there is some kind of in-person aspect to this community if they're bothering to break those out. Like maybe that's the next phase of like getting people to kind of support each other on a more regional level. This seems like a very universal tool though. So seeing the division by geography, I'm still intrigued by this and whether that's like worth the delineation or not, as opposed to groups maybe that would be more based on delineation of types of users like we saw at the start of this journey together today. So, you know, maybe something to consider there, but you pilot anything you want and see how it goes, eh? And it's good to try sometimes.
Totally. Awesome. Well, any final closing remarks on this community or anything you want to leave us with, Margaux?
Oh my gosh, Bri, I think we did a good job all throughout here of digging into things, but I think they have a lot of good. Their UX, UI like is strong. You know, we were able to find everything we wanted to find. very clean. The space between items was very nice, like nothing was cluttered. To your point earlier, it was not that kind of developer community where you had to have a certain, your instinct of where you look had to be pre-primed before you got there,
Yes.
So I think based on the fact that they do probably have different levels of users based on that journey, I think it was strong. I think it seemed easy enough to find resources. We didn't play around a ton with the search after we realized like what the site was for, but I think certainly they have resources, they have the ability to upvote things, they have great profiles with the ability to message people. So lots of really good here. I think as far as fixes and next step, I think they did a lot of what their community probably needs. The biggest thing I think we noticed was a little more clarity at like the top of pages for how to interact with those things, like that very first landing page, for example, where right away we said, how do we search? Is it by geo? Later we found geo groups, but it didn't link. So I think certainly like, just a little more verbiage for how to use it. Otherwise really strong for their use case.
I love it. That's great feedback. I completely agree. And I think that first page, especially because like I'm not a customer, and because I was able to join the community, I would have just like a glaringly obvious statement that's like, this is a community for people using Automation Anywhere software, participate in challenges, find people working on similar projects, and get support, or whatever the 3 call to actions are, even if it's just one sentence to like, I feel like whether or not you're in my boat, it provides clarity and psychological safety for all of us to know that we're in the right place. So
I'm always a really big fan of that, Bri. I'm with you. Having that clear like mission statement or values, or the clear like call to action of what that's for. I think every community needs that, and should really like live and breathe it in everything that they do. And it should also be like there for the community to see and understand.
Yes. Yep. Treat me like a dummy and I won't feel that dumb.
Always a good saying. You bet.
Yeah, no, that's super. I mean, I think they have an incredible foundation here. So I would say that this is one of like the most robust community strategies that I've seen from the communities that we have dissected, and excited to see. So if anybody from the Automation Anywhere team is watching this, we just like to say, we hope you take our feedback in the spirit of curiosity and generosity. It's so easy for us. We're both community builders. We know how hard this is. We know that when you nitpick things, we also don't see all the context. So hope you take it with the spirit of generosity and curiosity that it is intended. And but overall, super impressed, and kudos to the team. And hopefully we'll hear from them and even see how this community continues to evolve. All right. Thanks, Margaux, and we'll see you all in the next episode.
Thanks, Bri.